Welcome back to SG classes, sir. So, today we're going to discuss expected questions for the upcoming CA Enter exam. That law paper, है ना? Auditing and tax are coming soon. So, first of all, try to go through previous 3 MTPs, 3 RTPs. If available, go through my scanner because in this scanner I covered the questions from 1994, sir, till 2024. So in the Companies Act, it is covering the questions from 1994. If you can able to do these questions to the best of my knowledge, nothing new will come in the exam, है ना? So first of all, let us start with the FEMA chapter. In FEMA, only 3 things are important. One is capital account transaction, other one is current account transaction, last one is the residential status. All are 3 stars, 3 stars and 4 stars. Here capital account transactions, he will give the transaction, he will ask whether it is prohibited transaction or allowed transaction. Like that he will ask. These 3 are important from exam point of view. And when it comes to LLP, need for LLP he is asking for around 4 marks. And small LLP, since it is an amendment and new concept, he may ask for 2 to 3 marks, important. And liabilities of DP and other partners for the fraud, he can make the practical question on this concept, sir. And designated partners and other partners liability in case of the fraud made by the any partner with a third party. And statement of solvency and statement of accounts, he may ask for the MCQ. The number of days, within how many days we have to file it with ROC, he may ask in MCQs. And effect of conversion, section 58, very important from exam point of view. If LLPs, if private company is converting into LLP or public company converting into LLP, unlisted public company converting into LLP, or partnership firm is converting into, or partnership firm is converting into LLP. So this concept he may ask in the exam, sir. Little important from exam point of view. And next compromise, arrangement and amalgamation of LLPs, I feel very important compared to other topics because this topic is not in the CA foundation. This topic is introduced in the new syllabus, so he may ask. And last one is winding up of LLP or dissolution of LLP, modes of dissolution of LLP, he will ask directly, sir. So these things we can expect from LLP chapter. So in the FEMA, only 3 topics are important: capital account or current account or residential status. And when it comes to, sir, you see the stars also, sir. If more number of stars are there, means more important, है ना? So comparatively. Next, interpretation of statutes. Secondary rules of interpretation is asking, sir. Secondary rules of interpretation, and especially he is asking means, includes, shall and must differences. He is asking harmonious construction and its exceptions, especially is focusing on the exceptions, sir. Notwithstanding anything contained, that kind of things he is asking in the exam. And most favorite question for the examiner from this chapter is construction versus interpretation, logical interpretation versus grammatical interpretation. This topic will be there in the beginning of the chapter. So this differences versus he is asking in the exam when it comes to interpretation of statutes. Next, if you go to GCA, he is asking the definitions, are especially is focusing more on the immovable property and effect of the repeal in the exam comparatively other topics in this topic, general clause chapter. He can ask service by post also, last topic, sir, in this chapter. This is the last topic, service by post. That thing also he is asking. And one more thing, deletion versus repeal. Is right. Effect of repeal and deletion versus repeal. Deletion versus repeal he is asking. This thing also is asking in the exam. 2 marks, 3 marks. And companies incorporated outside India. This concept was not there in the old syllabus. Since it is added into a new syllabus, more chance of asking is there. So application of the act to foreign companies. When we will apply Indian Companies Act to foreign company, that means more than 50% of the capital is held by the foreigners. So that thing he may ask in the MCQ. And section 380, 381 and 386, 387. So comparatively important in this chapter. And when it comes to, this is the 40 marks, sir. When it comes to Companies Act, introduction to companies, 90% he will not ask anything in the first chapter, because if you see ICA material only, that definitions are there, so nothing much he can ask Maximum he can ask applicability of that. That also not that much important. Next, in Companies Act, especially which was shifted from CA Foundation, which is covered in CA Foundation also. This chapter is very important. Types of companies, especially Section 8 company. In the Section 8 company, go through question number 24 and 25 from my material. They're very important. That is effect of resolution of the Section 8 company. What will happen to the assets if you close in the Section 8 company? And one more thing he is asking is, can the Section 8 company distribute dividends? So this question is asking from the this chapter. And OPS is very important, and especially in my material, in my scanner, I covered a few questions. In that question 6 and 9 is very important. And small company, doormat company, foreign company he can ask practically also. And small company, doormat company is asking directly, sir. And subsidiary and associate companies is asking practical question, very important. Here two questions are there, sir, in my scanner, question number 11 and 15. If you see these questions are covering from 1994. The same question is coming even in 2024 also, the same question. So he will give one company, SG Limited. It is having two companies like Raju Limited and Vani Limited. And Raju and Vani are subsidiaries of SG Limited. Rani and Vani is investing in the, for example, Suresh Limited. So whether Suresh Limited will become the subsidiary of SG Limited or not. So this kind of question he is asking from so many years, from 1994 also same question is there, sir. So that question he is asking. And when it comes to incorporation, maximum he can ask the penalty for giving the wrong information for formation of the company, section 7. And run reservation of unique name. So if company is new company and they are applying for the reservation of unique name, how many days name will be reserved? If it is a existing company, if they want to alter the name, how many days the reservation of unique name will be reserved? So this thing he may ask in the MCQs. It is there in the IC material also. IC MCQs also it is there. So that thing he can ask in the exam from the third chapter. Not that much important exam point of view. And in the MOA and AOA, he can ask doctrine of ultravirus and alteration of MOA. Alteration of MOA he can ask in MCQs. He can ask practically also. Alteration of situation class, alteration of the name class, alteration of objective class. These three are important in alterations. And when it comes to, if possible, go through question number 5 in my scanner. Entrenchment provisions he can ask even for MCQ or in the normal questions also. 2 marks, 2 stars. Doctrine of construct notice, doctrine of indoor management, and with its exceptions, very important from exam point of view. In CA foundation also, CA enter also, indoor management and its exceptions are very important. That I covered 2 questions in my scanner. These 2 questions are coming frequently. Next, when it comes to prospectus, section 26, that is the contents of prospectus is asking for 4 marks like that. This is the first section in this chapter, sir. Section 26 and section 28, 29 also he is asking. And very famous question of the, very favorite question of the examiner is the shelf prospectus. That is very important. Private placement he can ask directly or practically or MCQ also. Untrue statement in the prospectus, and when directors and experts are not liable, when they are not liable. This is very favorite question of the examiner from this chapter. Effects of untrue statement. We have some case laws also, sir. So those case laws practically he is asking, so many times he is asking same question he is asking, sir. Peak versus Gurne, one case law will be there. That case law is asking very frequently. That is very important. And GDR obviously very important. Global Depository Receipts. And when it comes to deposits, conditions for acceptance of deposits and exceptions to deposits he is asking in MCQs. Even in the date questions also he is asking. So we have nearly 15 to 20 exceptions are there which are not deemed to be deposits. That thing he is asking in the exam. And last, penalty for giving for contravention of the deposits. ये आने का chance है MCQ में, but this one is very important. And conditions for acceptance of deposits. So private company want to accept the deposits from members, or public company want to accept the deposits from the members or outsiders, है ना? So what are the conditions he may ask? And this one is very important. Exceptions to deposits. And when it comes to charges, registration of the charges, time limit for registration of the charges is very favorite question. Very important question. Registration and crystallization he may ask for 2 marks. conversion of floating charge into fixed charge, verification of instrument of charge. Once upon a time, this basically this is not important, but nowadays is asking, sir, verification, who has to verify the instrument, because this amendment, earlier this concept is not in the SA material, in new syllabus is added this concept, that's why is asking. So who has to verify this instrument of the charges, he is asking, and satisfaction of the charges also is asking, sir. So last topic in the charges chapter. So after repayment of the charge also we have to inform to ROC, that is called the satisfaction of the charge, that thing also is asking. And irregular allotment, very favorite question of examiner. And underwriters commission, in case of shares, in case of debentures, very important, sir. These two questions are important from this chapter. The same questions are covered in question number 9, 11 and 14 in my scanner. The same question is coming, this one especially, underwriter commission. For last 10 years, same question is asking, sir, without changing comma full stop. Exactly as this is asking. Underwriter commission is asking. Next, right shares. Here we have one case law, sir. That case law only will come in the right shares concept. And in MCQ, he may ask renunciation concept in MCQ. But here, that right shares, one case law will be there, sir. That case law only will ask. And bonus shares, sources he can ask, and percentages. So 1:2 company issuing the bonus shares. That kind of question he can ask in the exam. And conditions for buyback, very important, sir. He can ask, we have nearly 15 conditions. He can ask, he can frame a question on any condition. Differential voting rights, DVRs, he can ask direct question. Forged transfer, this question is very favorite question of examiner. A is there, is the shareholder of the company. A signature is forged, transferred to B, and B transferred to C. Then A realized my certificate is forged. Then rights of A, rights of B, rights of C. This question is very favorite question of examiner. And restrictions on transfer of the shares, very important question, sir. This one also. That means if can private limited company restrict the transfer of the shares? Can public limited company restrict the transfer of the shares? What are the conditions? That question he can ask in the exam. From this chapter we have 5 questions from share capital. And meetings, you cannot expect the question paper without meetings question, especially effect of not giving the 21 clear days notice. Effect of not giving 21 clear days notice, he will ask. If you count the number of days, most of the cases number of days will come to 19 only. So that question he will ask in the exam also. Mostly if it, actually the gap should be between the date of notice and date of meeting should be 21 clear days, but in the question, if you count the number of days, 19 days only will come. That question is favorite question from so many years. And if the CS of the company is giving the unauthorized notice, so what is the effect? It can be ratified by board of directors. That question he is asking. Proxy and quorum, obviously important. OR and SR, he will give transactions. He will give 4 transactions. He will ask for which transaction we have to pass the SR, for which transaction we have to pass OR, and which business is ordinary business, which business is special business. That question he will ask. Types of resolutions, that is a ordinary resolution, special resolution, and resolution requiring special notice. This one is very favorite question of examiner, especially this third one. Resolution requiring special notice, very important from exam point of view. Resolution requiring special notice. And when it comes to debentures chapter, he can ask who can become debenture trustee, who cannot become debenture trustee, and when trustee should be appointed, and DRR, very important. In MCQs he can ask a 4 marks question. And when it comes to stat registers, 88, 94, 92, 90, especially foreign registers, because this is a new concept compared to earlier. This concept is not there, so most probability is that he can ask the foreign register. Dividends, accounts of auditors, pakka question, sir. Dividends, accounts of auditors, pakka question, sir. If we write the important chapters for Companies Act, dividends, accounts of the companies, auditors on priority basis. Next, share capital. Next, general meetings, that is administration, and prospectus. Even you are good at these topics, easily you can able to attend the questions from the Companies Act, because these are very important chapters in the Companies Act. So in the dividends, he will ask a time limit for distribution of dividend and interim dividend. He will ask, sir. Payment of dividend out of reserves, very favorite question of examiner. It has 5 conditions. That 5 conditions you have to remember. He can ask practical question. and whether we have to transfer any percentage of profits to P&L reserves before transfer of the before declaration of dividend. That question is he will ask, sir, we need not transfer any percentage of profits to reserves before declaration of dividend, but he will ask, can the company do so or not? That thing he will ask in the exam. And one more thing he can ask in the exam is, if company transfer the dividend to shareholder because of not tallying of the name of the shareholder, not tallying of the name of shareholder as per bank records and company records, that amount is returned to company. So company is not informed to shareholder whether it is valid or not. Answer is invalid. So company has to inform to shareholder if the company is unable to distribute the dividend to shareholders due to non-tallying of the names. That question is also important from exam point of view in dividends chapter. When it comes to accounts, reopening of the books of accounts, it two types ఉంటుంది. So this one is two types. One is voluntary, other one is mandatory. So here he is asking the years, for how many years we can reopen the earlier books of accounts. And section 240, 128, 138, 137 is important, especially applicability of the XBRL and its exceptions. For few people, XBRL is not applicable. That thing he is asking. Corporate social responsibility, he is asking applicability generally, and NEFRA. So these are the 4 questions important from this chapter. Auditors also very important chapter, sir. Appointment of auditor, section 140, and reporting of the fraud, 143. That also very important. Rights and duties of the auditor and qualifications. That means disqualifications. Who cannot become the auditor of the company? Qualifications, it means disqualifications. Who cannot become the auditor of the company? So these are the important questions from my point of view for CM Inter Law. So you have to focus on all topics. Comparatively, these are very important. Before going to exam, please go through these things. You may get the more chance of getting these questions. And CA Inter Audit and Tax, and CMA Inter Law, Audits and Tax, and CMA Final Law. Expert questions are coming soon in my YouTube channel. So please go through the channel, subscribe the channel, and I will upload the same thing in the Telegram channel also. Have a great time. Enjoy the day. Prepare well. SG signing off. Good luck for your exams.